while we say our pledge of allegiance? Mr. Vaughn? No, sorry. Mr. Vaughn? Joey? Just want you to be ready after we finish the pledge. You can sing for us. Thanks. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chosen. What do you prefer? There you go.
Come up here so everybody can see you. That way you don't have your back. There you go.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yes. Okay. My name, go up there. Okay.
No.
Oh, look at it. Okay.
We'll see.
My name is Joven Hamlet. I'm a sophomore at Palm Bluff High School. I'm the sophomore class president. So I'm a very sociable person. As you can see, I sing. I've been singing kind of my whole life. And I'm very honored to be invited here. That I'm glad that I have a reputation of being able to come and present and speak. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. So we are so grateful and appreciate so much being here at the co-op today. So I'd like to ask, so first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Kathy Swan, her whole team, for having us here. And I'll invite you up if you want to say a few words and introduce anyone else.
Welcome to the river. That's what we lovingly call it. So we are so honored to host your meeting today. I would like to say on behalf of the board of directors here and our staff, we are here to serve you, and we're here with anything that you need, and we're committed to the work that needs to set forth before us, and we're committed to our partnerships with our state agencies, but most of all, we're committed to our students that are in our schools. So I would like to recognize a few members of my board who are superintendents from our region that have come out to support public education. And our president of our board is Gary Williams from the Whitehall School District. The vice president of our board is Jeff McKinney from the Stuttgart School District. And Dr. Barbara Reed is our secretary, and you all have spent some time with her today. So we wish you a very blessed meeting. If you need anything while you're here, please find someone with a name tag, and we will take care of you. Have a great meeting.
All right, thank you. All right. we feel very cared for. Thank you so much. All right, so Secretary Oliva, did you have recognitions?
Well, so since we're in Pine Bluff, we were going to have Superintendent Dr. Barbary come up and just share a quick update about the school district. And we did get to spend some time visiting some classrooms and engage in some dialogue with just to, Pine Bluff's one of the schools that's been on our radar, our districts that's been on our radar for some time. And we've been asked to give updates and briefings, to be able to spend some time in classrooms was just, is a good opportunity for us to see firsthand some of the great initiatives that we hear about in action. So we want to just invite Dr. Barbary to come over to say some opening remarks as well.
Thank you so much, Secretary Oliva. Thank you. Thank you so much, State Board of Education, for taking this opportunity to come meet our students, to come see our city and come see our districts that we have in Jefferson County. I just want to say it's a privilege to stand before you and share some of the things about what's going on in Pine Bluff School District. As you know, I was before you in Little Rock in December, so we've had about 25 days since our last meeting and encounters, or 25 student days, that is. And so there's some things that we have in place that I wanted to share with you, but I did want to start just to talk about the implementation timeline of Pine Bluff School District since it's been out of state, well, since I took the superintendent role and we've gotten out of state control. First, as you noticed, as you walk through our classrooms today, in our buildings today, there we go. We have really focused on our school district vision. There's so many things going on in the district and in the schools. Our vision is that Pine Bluff School District will be safe, supportive, and student-centered community where every child is believed in, challenged, and empowered to overcome barriers, achieve at high levels, and pursue the college and career goals they set for themselves. Our digital team, our communications team, created a digital graphic for us to really show what we believe in with our vision, and it is that we're a student-centered community. So throughout all the updates that you'll see that students are the focus. And today I do have students here with us that would like to share some of their experiences as well, so I'll get through this as fast as possible because I know you want to hear from them. But as you know, some of you may or may not know, because some of you are new to the board, I was appointed by then I was appointed by Johnny Key in 2023, January of 2023, to be Pine Bluff School District's appointed superintendent. During that time, we were taking the ACT Aspire. Our Aspire scores were at 15%, ready and exceeding. All of our districts were in PLC's mindset. We did have that going. And we were beginning district focus walks under my leadership with making sure that everyone was together. We had started with reviewing our least restrictive environment because we had so many students that were served off campus or different places, and we were looking at different supports for our students. And we were really focusing on safety and security, creating a duty schedule, security schedule, and making sure that we had intervention times. At that semester, under our leadership, I right-sized the district. We were overstaffed for our student population, and at that time, we non-renewed 75 employees. Most were non-licensed employees. At that time, 59% of our staff was non-licensed. We launched a millage campaign that spring to build a new high school. I was active in all community groups. We announced the closing of Dalloway High School. At the time, Dalloway had already annexed into Pine Bluff School District, but we were functioning as two districts under one superintendent. So you had Dalloway High School, Pine Bluff High School, Dalloway Elementary, Pine Bluff Elementaries, two different junior highs as well. I also announced that we were going to merge the high school students together and the junior high students together and where those would be placed. So we kept the junior high campus at Dalloway, and we took the high school campus to Pine Bluff's side of the town. We had 7 new board members at the time, and that June, the bank variance was over $3 million, and we had 10 pending litigation cases. From there, my first year as the superintendent from the school year 23-24, we implemented a year-round calendar. We have a new assessment that was taking place, which was the Atlas assessment. At the end of that school year, our students were at 10% achieving, which would show to be somewhat of a decline because we were at 15 the year before. However, it's a different assessment. We purchased new interactive panels across the entire district. We've introduced banking and finance program of study at our secondary school. This, by the way, this year will be our 3rd year for that, so we'll have completers this year. Some of them are here to talk to you about that. We implemented a STAR Academy, which was a project-based learning academy for 80 of our 8th graders to help support those students. We merged the 2 secondary schools. We had to increase in student attendance by the end of the year. And we believe some of that had to do with our implementation of the year-round calendar through surveys and things like that. Our office discipline referrals at the end of that year was 3,385. We implemented student intervention teams that year, and that's a team that comes together to look at students that are at risk for attendance, behavior, grades, and so that we could be more proactive for those students. We began serving all students on site. We had students that were at a day school and different places like that, and we brought them all back to campus. That was, if you're familiar with Jenkins Memorial, that was a school for special needs in Pine Bluff, and we brought all those students back and had our students that are severe needs at the campuses. We had 161 students receiving dyslexia services that year. We started a 9th grade academy, and we began the 2020 for 2024 Glasses campaign, and that was something that we talked about earlier about our seniors. We've screened all seniors, and that year we were able to provide 16 seniors with glasses for free. That year I was also offered a superintendent contract by my 7-member board. We had 73% of our teachers that were licensed, which is a huge gain. We reorganized the district level positions. We also hired a new business manager, and we opened all building level principal positions and assistant principals positions, and we went through a new hiring process for our building level principals and assistant principals. We passed a 6.0 millage to build a new high school, which is huge. The community came together and passed that, very strongly passed it. We presented a progress at Arkansas School Boards Association, and we had a strong presence for the group violence intervention, and we still do. That was a very strong support partnership with community members to ensure that we were keeping our students safe. We broke ground on a $175,000 square foot high school. We purchased 12 new buses that year. We had fencing and remote access for all campuses to keep everyone safe. And we had 4 HVAC replacements going on. 4 elementaries got new HVAC systems that year. We were very busy with facilities. In September, you all released us. September of 2023, you released us from state control. We had to pay over $1.9 million back taxes that year. I was able to get $800,000 abated, so it would have been more than that. It would have been over $2 million. That January, it took us 6 months, but we reconciled that $3.5 million bank statement. Everything was found and reconciled. We reduced certified salaries by 21%, and we saved $3.9 million. And at the time, we had 14 pending litigation cases that year. In the 24-25 school year, I don't know where I'm supposed to point this. Again, that was last school year, my second full year. We had Atlas assessment. 16% of our students were level 3 and 4, which is a 6% gain in proficiency from the previous year. 53%, over half of our lowest performing students met their targets on the Atlas assessment. We had huge growth of our lowest 25%. That growth I still attribute to part of our inclusion process by bringing our students back and putting them in general pop classrooms with supports from special needs teachers. We opened 2 banks, which you guys got to see that, with our partnership with Fordyce Bank and Trust. We still had year 2 of our year-round calendar. Our high school senior was named the JAG National President. He still is, and he was able to speak at the JAG conference. I think Secretary Leva was there to see that. And we implemented, we purchased new math curriculum that year. We already had our literacy curriculum, but last year we purchased new math curriculum for this school year. We introduced Capturing Kids' Hearts. Our office discipline referrals reduced by 23% in 1 year. We hired a new security director. You got to meet him this morning at Forest Park Greenville, and we have a strong security team. We spend about $1.2 million on security salary and benefits to ensure that our students are safe. We introduced Student Transition of Arkansas. It's a partnership with U of A that is funded to help our students that graduate or getting prepared to graduate that are at special needs, that they transition to enlisting, employment, or enrollment. We have some going to University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. We also have 2 students that are now employed at Saracen Casino. They shared that this week. We also have an optometrist. We partner with an optometrist. She actually is from Little Rock, but she comes to Pine Bluff. She did come once a month. Now she's coming 3 times a month to serve our students for their eye needs. And we were able to provide 18 seniors last year with glasses. We have inclusion on every campus, and last year we were serving 223 students dyslexia services. And that goes from kindergarten to 12th grade. We reorganized classified staff. This is something that we talked about earlier. We opened up every paraprofessional position, our secretary, our administrative assistant positions, and they were all had to reapply we hired and went through a hiring process for that. Of the paraprofessionals, we wanted to be more intentional with our goal of grow your own, and we were working with the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff residency program. So we hired 15 for next school year, this year, but last year we interviewed 15 UAPB residents to be, and now we've actually hired them in our district as paraprofessionals. Our contracts that we offered that year, we had 82% were licensed, and 4 of our 7 building principals were new last year. I implemented a student advisory committee that year, so I meet with students once a month or bi-monthly, depending on how we can get the schedule working, so that we can get student voice involved. I meet with the staff advisory committee, and we also have district level meeting every month. And that last year I was named the Jefferson County Woman of the Year in Education. In facilities and transportation, we moved all our high school students back to Jeff Roby. We had to do some renovation there to get them back into the building so that we could actually tear down over 150 acres of facility. And we purchased weapon detectors for Pine Bluff Junior High and Pine Bluff High School through a COPS grant. We had 50% completion of our new high school, and we purchased 3 more buses last year. We sold 2 schools and an administrative office last year, so we no longer have to pay anything on those anymore. Our voters elected 2 new school board members last school year. We were removed from fiscal distress and are currently managing a $78 million construction project. We reduced our litigation cases as well to 8 cases. So currently, right now, in fiscal year 20 or school year 25, Southwood Elementary School and James Matthews Elementary School moved from an F to a D. Students are enrolled in concurrent credit. We have cybersecurity, welding, and students that actually go to CART for those 3 courses. We implemented a district classroom recipe. All classroom teachers have at least 2 evaluations already in ESS. Some have much more than that, but that was a requirement that everybody had to by December. We reviewed the PGPs with all building principals. My assistant superintendent and I meet with the building principals monthly. We conduct instructional audits with each building principal and still do those district level focus walks. We're in year 2 of capturing kids' hearts. 2 of our elementary schools are on their way to being named a national showcase school based on the survey data. We partnered with our co-op to provide a tier 3 behavior sports school. It's actually on one of Pine Bluff's campuses, Pine Bluff School District campuses, but the co-op is a consortium with 2 other districts as well. We reduced our office discipline referrals again, 38% reduction in office discipline referrals so far this year. That's just to date. We have 255 students receiving dyslexia services, and we've so far offered or provided 23 pairs of glasses to seniors. We still have 20 students waiting for their appointment. We hired 15 UAPB student residents. You've seen some of those today. 84% of our teachers are licensed. We have 1 teacher that had a gross score that placed him in the top 10% quartile for math on the Atlas assessment with his VAM score. He was placed in the top 25% for science, and we have 1 ELA teacher, elementary teacher, that was placed in the top 10% growth score for quartile for ELA. 2 schools are community schools. You got to hear a little bit about that at lunch. We have a stronger student advisory committee. We are opening 3 more banks with Simmons Bank partnership this year. We have a kindergarten academy, currently at the kindergarten academy that you got to visit. We have 263 kindergartners there, which is a 26% increase in our kindergarten enrollment. Our kindergarten enrollment and our senior enrollment are the 2 highest grade bands we have, so that's good. Those that are leaving are going to be replaced by those that are coming. Pine Bluff School Board has earned an outstanding board award. Every board member has over 25 hours of training, and our school board members actually combined have over 403 professional development hours, and currently we have 1 litigation case pending. But progress since I stood before you about specific things regarding our letter F grade. Once we went back after the presentation, we still talked about what that assurance looked like and who is held accountable for who's held accountable for our F grades and our building level grades. And our students, our teachers have taken ownership of that. We've asked the community to help with that as well. So we have community members that are reaching out. We have retired teachers that are providing professional learning, reading to students, doing all different things. We have our grade level SMART goals. They're SMART E-goals, but I call them SMART goals. They were developed, and we revised them, though, because we missed 6 instructional days due to the ice storm. But all students that are scoring in level 1 on the ELA Atlas interim are currently in small group intervention. These interventions are provided by classroom teachers, our instructional paraprofessionals, and our dyslexia interventionists. We're tracking their progress with the support of the co-op and state support as well. We have state literacy coaches that we have all those level 1 students, and we're tracking their progress based on fall to winter interim, and also the different curriculum-based assessments that we have for progress monitoring. Our assessments that we're using, of course, we're doing the Atlas Interim any chance that we have an opportunity, just because we feel like we need to continue to put that standards-based assessment in front of our students. So currently, what I can say that we're very proud of is every one of our elementary schools have met our SMART goal of reducing our students scoring in level 1 from the screener to the fall interim, and I'm sorry, there's only one interim, to the middle of year interim. And so if you see what the goal was, is that we wanted at least a 10% reduction. And so our current students that are at 34th are still in level 1, we have 54, but we had 62. And so you'll see that we're continuing to monitor that progress. Our goal for 3-6 was that we would continue to move students for at least a 10% reduction at the end of the year. We are currently providing the the winter assessment, the Atlas assessment. We're back a week because of the snow and ice, and so our students are currently taking that right now. So that data hasn't been updated, but what has been updated are those students from the interim, from the summative from last school year to the fall interim that was taken. And even though those are a different set of students, so if you think about that, it's from their last year's test to this year's assessment, we're still seeing some growth in those students, and Broadmoor has already reduced their number of students scoring in that level based on their goal. At the secondary campus, 7 through 10, this is our junior high and our high school campuses. We're currently doing our assessment, but at this time, we see that our 10th grade students that are in 10th grade this year are scoring better than our 10th grade students that were in 10th grade last year. Again, it's not the same students, but we're going to hope that we're attributing that to our Tier 1 instruction, ensuring that our students are getting what they need. But these are the students that we're tracking, and we have these in our data workbook. And so that's one of the things that we meet about weekly. And we meet monthly with our district level team on that as well. And I was quick with that because I wanted to give you that update. I have students that are here to talk about some things as well, or do you want to ask me questions first?
Let's hear from the students.
Yes. Everyone that's here to present for Pine Bluff School District, come up, please. You guys come stand right here with me. I do want to pause. Can I have, we also do have 2 of our UAPB residents here to talk about that program. I'd like for them to come up and share their UAPB residency experiences. So Mr. Dixon and yeah, there we go. Ms. Boyd, come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Boyd, and I'm a resident from University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I'm currently completing my student teaching at Southwood Elementary, one of the best elementary schools in Pine Bluff. My journey at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff has been life-changing. Becoming both a resident and an employee within Pine Bluff School District has shaped me into the educator I am today. This year-long residency has allowed me to gain real hands-on classroom experience while also being compensated for the hard work and dedication that I do every day. I am grateful to the Pine Bluff School District for partnering with UAPB to create opportunities like this for aspiring educators like me. What makes Pine Bluff School District special is the commitment to supporting not only students, but educators as well. Every district has its lows and its grows, but Pine Bluff School District pours into its teachers, ensuring we are equipped, mentored, and encouraged. Under the guidance of my mentor, Mrs. Reynolds, I have grown tremendously. She has modeled effective classroom instruction, strong classroom management, and most importantly, how to build meaningful relationships with students. As a resident, I have the opportunity to plan lessons, lead instruction, and analyze student data, and reflect on my practice in real time. These experiences have strengthened my confidence and prepared me to step into my own classroom fully equipped and ready to make an impact. Being a resident of Pine Bluff has impacted me beyond academics and professional growth. It has deepened my understanding for the community that I serve and reminded me why I chose education in the first place, to make a difference. This experience now has only prepared me to be a teacher, but to be a leader, an advocate, and a lifelong learner within Pine Bluff School District. Thank you.
We'll just get everybody to make your presentation, and we'll save questions for the end.
Okay, okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Dixon. I'm a resident at Pine Bluff High School. I'm a student at UAPB, and I'm working towards getting my degree in mathematics education. I was just asked to speak about how the school district has affected me. And I was reflecting before I came up here about all of the things that I've been through in the last few months working at Pine Bluff High School. Whenever they first told me about the program, they said it was going to be a year-long program, which I was a little skeptical about because I was ready to graduate. But working in the program and actually getting to know everybody, I'm learning more and more how this is benefiting me as a teacher. I'm getting to know all of the fellow teachers. I'm getting to build relationship with students and seeing how they are first semester versus second semester. And I'm really appreciating everything that the school district has done for me. I appreciate all of the administration team. They're always willing to help me. They're always there with a smile on their face to help me with any questions I have. How the school has impacted me. Whenever I first came into the program, I was really intimidated about how I was going to effectively work in the classroom. And it's really built my confidence over the last few months working in the school district. And I was able to build those connections with the students to really get the best outcome from them as well as for myself as teaching. I'm excited to see what the future has in store for Pine Bluff School District, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, board and everyone. I am Takesha Cross. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz said it best. There is no place like home. That is a feeling that I feel every day that I walk through the halls of the CTE department, and also the same feeling our scholars feel as they engage through our program, so they say. While at Pine Bluff High School, our CTE program supports scholars by blending academics with hands-on, real-world experiences across all of our culture clusters. We offer industry-recognized certifications with Microsoft Suites as well as WorkKeys. This is a direct pathway to a competitive edge for employment upon graduation. We also offer programs like JAG and internships that enable scholars to explore fields like IT, healthcare, banking, management, and agriculture. Through our clubs and organizations such as B2 Lit, Business Banking Leaders in Training, FBLA, FCCLA, and iClub, Excel to Youth Exceeding, student engagement is integrated with academics and technical content. When CTE scholars are engaged, career readiness goals are met. Our clubs and organizations develop durable soft skills that will carry them across any landscape. Lastly, we are currently working on providing a post-secondary transitional piece by offering dual enrollment in hopes of ensuring they are prepared for both college and the workforce. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from our scholars.
Hello everyone, my name is Destiny Jones and I am a proud senior of the Pine Bluff High School. I am on track to graduate with a CTE recognition in completing accounting and the first graduate to complete the banking program of study. I am elated that my diploma will contain a merit distinction. Being a part of these great tracks taught me life skills which are essential to any professional avenue that I may choose. But the most important thing to me is I have learned how to valuably build generational wealth. Did you know that being a part of a credit union means that you own part of that credit union? Did you know that decreasing your credit utilization ratio to below 30% makes you a lower risk borrower? Lastly, being a president of our club, Business Banking Leaders in Training, have helped me learn how to communicate effectively and allow me to network with my peers and within my community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zariana Moore, a proud completer of PBA
HS Cosmetology Program on Study Track and Skills USA. Today's participant. Cosmetology is a blend of art and science, focuses on enhancing skin, hair, and nails. My instructor, Ms. Fournette, has equipped all of her students with practical skills, preparing us for immediate employment, which is a great path for those not pursuing a traditional four-year college degree. This program has also allowed me to be a part of our student organization, Skills USA. Our student organization has enhanced our ability to show our leadership skills, as well as provide opportunity to have hands-on experience in decision-making, team collaboration, and project management by organizing community service events, as well as exposure to career prospects. I would have not ever thought that I would learn how to money management skills and customer service skills, which are needed when I opened Pine Bluff's first naturalist stylist only salon. With these skills and professional techniques, I have purchased my own vehicle at 17 without a cosigner, and have paid all my SIN class expenses, lifting the financial burden from my family. Thank you, Pine Bluff High School CTE department, for all you do and have done. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Chris Phillips, and I just want to start out by saying that I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak here today. I'm a sophomore at Pine Bluff High School, but most importantly, a member of FBLA. I'm aware that some people may see FBLA as just another club, but I can tell you that as a 2-year member, it's more than that. FBLA is an opportunity for young people to understand the world of business from a different standpoint. When all the other members and I go to the conventions and competitions, we don't go to have fun. We go to learn the different principles necessary for running a business. Even if we don't go to compete, we still get something out of the experience. All the members at Pine Bluff High work together, whether it's at the meeting or just in the hallway. We're always talking about what we can do to win our competitions. And we're always working to make improvements in our styles of approach when entering our competitions. Most importantly though, we learn how to build teamwork skills, which is the most important soft skill in business. I'm telling you all this because people need to really know the behind the scenes of a group of members from FBLA instead of just thinking negatively about it. FBLA is one of the most impactful school organizations to become a part of. And they can take the students that people may look down on or underestimate and turn them into the confident, smart, and hardworking leaders that America needs. Here's a quick explanation of the acronym. F, future. What this means is that the members now are the ones who will make a difference later on in their lives. B, business. This means that the small ideas that they have will become successful companies, whether big or small. L is for leaders. This is saying that we will be respected for being respectful, and people will listen to us while we listen to their ideas. America, A is for America. What this means is that we can spread our business throughout the entire country rather than just keeping it in one place. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today.
I think that's everyone that was ready to speak, so thank you so much for having everyone.
So impressive. I'll
just make a quick comment. First, also want to thank Kathy Swan and her team for hosting us and Dr. Barber for the wonderful update. And it's evident that the initiatives that you're working on are starting to pay off, especially when we can hear the stories firsthand from your own scholars. So I just want to say quickly to the teachers and residents, thank you for doing that, right? Thank you for wanting to go to school to become a teacher. I think it's the greatest profession of all professions. It's a new program. We're very grateful for Governor Sanders and the LEARNS Act to have this vision to make sure that we change teacher preparation so that our candidates can get this full immersive experience and be successful and lifelong educators. So my message to you is don't leave us. Don't think that you're leaving and going home to another state. You're now part of our community, and we want to keep you here and make you part of the DNA that makes this community special. Also want to say to the CTE teachers, thank you for that relevancy. We know that a one-size-fits-all approach, it doesn't work for every student, and every student deserves to be on a pathway that works best for them, and we are not going to let somebody's zip code define their destination in life. And to see that we can do awesome opportunities, and students talking about finance and getting loans and understanding debt and learning real world relevant and y'all deserve that, and we're really proud to see these scholars rise. I just want to say to the young lady that talked about the finance and that you are graduating with a diploma of merit and distinction, right? That's a new program thanks to Arkansas Access, and you're taking advantage of it, and you're unpacking your future, and you're going to have access to scholarship money that wasn't there if it wasn't for the great vision of Governor Sanders and the support of our legislature to make that happen. So I'm so glad to see when we can see evidence of great policy impacting and changing lives. So keep up the hard work, stay focused. You're gonna be super successful because I can already sense it. I also want to say to the person in cosmetology, some of them are here. Unfortunately, I don't need your services. I'm also a long time ago, but I'm glad you're finding your home. And it's a big deal, right? Like, it's a big deal. You're able to learn in high school a wonderful profession that can open so many doors for you. And hopefully one day when we come back, you're going to have your own salon, and I'll have to bring friends to enjoy it. We're going to make sure we're setting you up for success. And the young man from FBLA, hashtag Best Dressed Award for the day. We were giving one out, but don't stop believing. Don't stop learning. You have a passion and conviction that is contagious and inspiring. And I look forward to tracking each and every single one of you. You have a wonderful future, and we're really proud of you. So thank you, Dr. Barbary, for sharing the insights of those students today.
You're welcome, and thank you. Thank you so much.
Before we move on, I'll just open up the floor if there are any other comments or questions from anybody on board. No? Oh, Mr. Henderson.
No, I too was very inspired by the presentations. I too have a technical background, and when I think of CTE, it's hard not to think about every student do not deserve to go to college. But it is evident to think of every student needs to go to college or get a career readiness degree. And you are doing just that. Had a very meaningful conversation with Dr. Barbary right before this meeting, and I was well pleased to learn that y'all have great stuff happening here at Pine Bluff.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Barbary.
Thank you, board, for having us. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Next up.
So, I guess to kind of keep the conversation around current technical education going, it's also Current Technical Education Month. So we asked Ross White, our director of CTE, to come up and share a proclamation that was signed by Governor Sanders, and maybe talk a little bit about some of the wonderful things we're seeing here across the state.
Good afternoon, Ross White, Director for Career Technical Education. I felt like this was planned, but I didn't know it was planned. So I was very excited to have those students and the part shared. But we're going to start with the video, hopefully. Just going to get
Arkansas students were ready to shine at the 2026 CTE Day at the state capitol, showcasing their talent, creativity, and hard work. This annual event, hosted by the Arkansas Division of Career and Technical Education, brings together students from across the state to highlight hands-on projects, share ideas, and demonstrate skills they're gaining in their CTE programs. Career and technical education in Arkansas has been significantly strengthened through Arkansas Learns and Arkansas Access. Together, these landmark laws are helping embed CTE into graduation and college and career readiness systems, ensuring students can pursue meaningful career pathways, not just a standard diploma.
We wanted to celebrate and elevate career and technical education as a viable pathway that we want to encourage all of our best and brightest students to participate in, and we have done that.
During the 2023-24 school year, just over 266,000 students were enrolled in CTE programs. For the 2025-26 school year, that number has grown to more than 315,000 students statewide. Through CTE, Arkansas students are charting clear pathways toward success after high school. Whether their goals include attending college, entering the workforce, or serving in the United States Armed Services.
Happy Career and Technical Education Month. This month is obviously a time for us to celebrate, reflect, and build awareness of career and technical education in our community, in our state, and across the nation. We were honored last week to host the Career and Technical Education Day at the Capitol, as the video you just watched. This was a great opportunity that we are given each year to showcase programs from across our state, from middle school all the way to post-secondary. And so I want to give a shout out to those that were there last week. We were fortunate to have the Academies of Central Arkansas pulling students from Maumelle High School, Sylvans Hills High School, Joe T. Robinson High School, the Arkansas Tech University Career Center, the Arkansas Correctional School District, Sheridan's High School's Kohler Academy, Paragould High School, the Southeast Arkansas Community-Based Education Career Center, with students from Wood High School, Hermitage High School, Woodlawn High School, and their partnership with the University of Arkansas at Monticello, Rogers District Launch High School, the Izard County Consolidated School District, Russellville High School, Darby Middle School, and their Health Academy with the Fort Smith Public Schools, and the North Arkansas College Career Center. These programs that we showcased impact career and technical education for students as low as 5th grade, all the way through our post-secondary students, and the journeys they're taking to meet, to hit that enlistment, enrollment, and employment. The video shows that we are having huge increases in CTE enrollment, as you can see. I know that y'all, I feel like every month I get to bring the celebration, which is great. I will keep doing that. I always like to be at the podium when we're talking about the good things. But we continue to see that growth, a lot of that knowing from the work that has been done in Learns and Access. But I think the other important piece we see is the growth in industry partners. 4 of those groups we had there that day, they had their business and industry there with them. Being a part of it, this is what we are doing with these partnering with schools or post-secondary institutions to ensure we're filling our workforce needs. That is phenomenal and an extremely important part for us. And then, of course, to celebrate, and I know we mentioned some of our student organizations a second ago, the month of February is a big month for us to celebrate. It's also a big month for us student-wise in showing the skills that we have. So this week, on Monday and Tuesday, we hosted over 1,000 students in Hot Springs for the DECA State Conference, where students showcase their skills in marketing, management, and entrepreneurship. Next week, we host the State Educator Rising Conference for more than 500 students at ASU BB. Then over the past 2 weeks, we've had 9 different events called Girl Power, and that is an event specifically for female students in the world of advanced manufacturing, and allowing female students to get hands-on learning with advanced manufacturing products and tools, and then be able to create, design products. We will have a state event on February 24th where they get to show those from across the state. And then to end the month, we will have 1,546 students at the Hot Springs Convention Center for the Host of State Conference, which is for our future healthcare workers. And then, of course, we continue on all spring with them, but those are just the ones in the month of February. And so I'd just like to end with that career and technical education is thriving in the state of Arkansas. CTE month.
Thank you so much. That is an incredible report. And yes, we want you to keep coming and bringing good news. Yeah, so are there questions or comments? No? Okay, so that brings us to, I guess, to the end at the end of recognitions, and moving on, I think, to the consent agenda. No changes? No changes to the agenda? All right, so are there any comments, questions, or anything about the consent agenda that we need to discuss? If not, I will accept a motion to.
I have some questions.
Okay.
Mine centers around the request for the Little Rock School Districts for Hall High. And I'm not sure exactly what the process is, but So I've got a lot of concern about switching to a hybrid system where students learn remotely. You know, we've heard a lot about the decrease in performance as a result of COVID and kids not coming to school. We've heard a lot of conversations about a lot of kids have, they struggle with access to nutrition. I know from firsthand experience that when we sent all of my engineers home, they surged initially when they went home and productivity went through the roof, but over time it dropped off to a lower level. So from my firsthand experience, there might be some benefits right out of the gate, but I'm concerned about long-term performance. And before we just automatically put it on the consent agenda and move forward, I'd like to have some kind of conversation about that.
Sure. So we can handle that in a couple different ways, because I think you have some valid questions and concerns, and I know this was an item that went through our charter authorizing panel. If we want to kind of table it to go into a deeper discussion, maybe have the school come and present what the rationale is, because we know that schools are trying to create options to meet the needs of students and families, and this is probably a program that's not for everybody, but we'd be happy to table it and then bring this back next month to do maybe an action item on this so that we can hear from them and get you to a comfort level, or to a comfort level that if we're approving something with the charter authorizing panel, that it is deserving of your consideration.
Thank you.
So would the appropriate motion be to accept, to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 3?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And I just had one comment or question, I suppose, for the department. I would love to have a work session on the annual statistics, the statistics report. Digging into funding is a lot, and I have a ton of questions, but I don't think this is the right place. And so maybe we can do a work session on that, and particularly digging into those school districts that were kind of
Yeah, I think, of course, next month is probably a good month to do this, since we're actually going into fiscal session as a state, right? So it's kind of a relevant conversation. So I think it'd be very helpful to be more transparent. So that'd be great.
All right, so moving on to reports. Is that correct?
Yes. So that's your first one.
All right, so we have Lee County Superintendent.
Yeah, Stacy's going to introduce you.
Good afternoon, Stacey Smith, Deputy Commissioner. So last month we talked about Lee County, and I gave you an overview. I did want to kind of update you on our on-site review. Got delayed because of the snow, the ice storm, and so they actually completed that last Friday. So a report that you were expecting, kind of pulling all that together, you'll be getting here in the next couple of weeks. It was delayed, but if we'll go ahead and kind of quickly talk about Lee County again under state authority. You saw this timeline before. They had a standard accreditation violation in 2019, and we dissolved the board and appointed a superintendent in 2021. They were placed in level 5 for intensive support. In 2022, Dr. Stone was appointed as their superintendent, and we've continued to have continuous state support from 2019 to 2025. In reality, when the state first went into the district, every critical system in a functioning district was broken. And so there has been a lot of systems work and foundational work during this time period. In 2019, the conditions of the school were unsafe and unsanitary. A lot of the staff was unlicensed. There was no coherent curriculum or instructional system within the school system. Even the basics of going in and observing teachers teach and being able to get feedback, the systems were not there. There were inconsistent operations with funding and systems for human capital and just managing money in general. It was really a place where it was the adults. Adults were what was the first thought for everyone, and it was not a student-first culture. Since that time, we have been building on these systems, and the 5 indicators that we've really been working on, and our team went on Friday to gather the scores and the results and the data to show that they've met what they needed to meet in the 5 indicators. But again, safe and orderly environments, district monitoring of student progress, quality instruction happening in classrooms, human capital part of educator workforce, and making sure that we have standards aligned materials. So at this time, we'd like to introduce, if you guys have not met, Dr. Michael Stone. He is the state appointed superintendent for Lee County and has done a tremendous job. It's been a pleasure to not only watch him grow and be innovative and change what's happening in Lee County as a whole. So at this time, I'm happy to introduce Michael Stone.
Well, thank you, Ms. Smith. I appreciate that introduction. Madam Chair, Secretary Oliva, members of the board, thank you for this opportunity to be here today and your sustained support for the Lee County School District over the past several years. I want to begin by saying plainly that the Lee County School District is not a perfect district. We're still a D school district, and we still have work to do. But I'm here today just to show you that Lee County is stable. We are functioning with systems in place. We got credible leadership. We got the capacity being built in our new advisory board for sustained progress. And we're trying to convince you today that we no longer need the daily state oversight. When the state took over the Lee County School District, the problem was not effort. It was dysfunction. Students were trying to learn in unsafe and unsanitary buildings. Teachers were trying to teach where there was no curriculum, without support, and without licensure. Basic systems like staffing and instruction were broken. So when the state took over the school district, the test scores were not really the issue there. It was making learning possible for kids, is what they were trying to get accomplished. Over the past several years, with the guidance of OCSS and this board and the State Department, schools are now safe. They're functional, yet, although we need a new school district and facilities, but they are orderly. Curriculum is aligned and consistently used. District leadership is present in school and monitoring instruction daily. The percentage of unlicensed teachers have dropped significantly. Pre-K is expanded. Enrollment is increasing, not declining. Career pathway, associate's degrees, access, workforce alignment are now all real possibilities for our students. So, why are we here? That didn't work. All right, there we go. Why are we here? We want to demonstrate readiness for transition from the state authority to local control. We want to show evidence of sustainable systems that support improved student outcomes, and we want to acknowledge remaining challenges honestly while demonstrating trajectory. The district is not perfect, but it's stable and proven its position to continue progress without the daily intervention from the state. I may need somebody to clip this for me.
I got you, Mike.
All right, I appreciate that. So evidence of progress, the facility restored to function clean, they're safe. Again, I don't think we have good facilities. We have okay facilities, but they are functional. They're Clear operational systems are in place. Climate now supports learning rather than disruption. Safely and stability are a prerequisite to academic growth. We had to have those things in place first before we could start growing academically. What changed is I restructured our organization. We have a viable team now that where those that report to me, I've got a Director of Learning Services, which also have ISSs, which are instructional support specialists at the district level for ELA and math. We also model, that's a model for my school organization, which has academic coaches underneath the principals for ELA and math at both schools. Those were necessary for the teachers that were in place that didn't have waivers, that they were under waivers, and those that are unlicensed. We have to make sure that our kids are still academically growing, so those teachers, those coaches and instructional support specialists are in place to ensure that those teachers are meeting those academic needs for students. We have regular monthly leadership team walks. The schools are responsible for doing 15 walks a week. We do one a week, one a month as a team, so we can calibrate with the schools. I often sit in classrooms, I teach classes, or I go in and monitor what's happening within those classrooms in the ELA and the math and science. We have SIP team meetings. That's a curriculum instruction team. That's minus my leadership team that includes the transportation director, the technology director, and those operational systems that are in place. But all of us do meet when we meet for deliverable 4s, 3 and 4s. We do have a 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 where we actually meet. And what that is the deliverables 3, we meet every Monday morning, and that's the entire team, leadership team, plus the SILP meets together, and they've got 5 minutes to explain to us they answer 3 questions. 1, what's your fire for the week? 2, how does that fire relate to any of our district goals and our mission and vision? And 3, who on this team you need help from, or who do you need to get with on this team to help you with that fire? And then deliverable 4 is we meet every other Wednesday, and that's a solve session. That session, whatever the topic is we need to solve, we'll solve it in 90 minutes. If 90 minutes is not enough time, we'll move to the next meeting. They know we'll cut that off right at 90 minutes so they can get back into the instructional day. So with no wasted time is what we're looking at, and so we can move the academic needle for our students. Clear expectations that are shared throughout the district. We've got a shared vision of excellent instruction. We put that together with one of our partners, TNTP. It took us about 3 months to put that together. We've got 3 priorities that we're looking at as it relates to instructional practices. Principals are supported and supervised and coached. So our elementary school, we are at a C grading for the last 2 years now. Science of reading implementation, most of the teachers have been trained, and there's a plan in place for those that have not been trained yet. Curriculum alignment, you'll see that this third bullet is also on the next slide, and so I won't repeat it, but I'll detail it out right now. Curriculum alignment and coaching. CTMs are happening at both schools. Meetings held weekly with the principal. District and school level coaches train instructional coaching and cognitive coaching. High quality professional development with TNTP, Savage Curriculum Associate, Kirkland Group, and our co-op. And we have regular coaching cycles. When we have a teacher that has a need, we have a 3-week coaching cycle that happens with that teacher as needed and as necessary. The high school. The high school remains an F. Instructional rigor and grade level content is still improving. the school is working on initiatives that promote active participation in assessment. What that means is we're trying to make sure that our kids, when it's time to take an assessment, that they're ready. So we're trying to put things in place to encourage them to be ready for that assessment. And this fourth bullet again is a repeat of that last slide. Secondary turnaround lags, but is structurally supported now. Licensure improvement back in 2019 to 2020, there was 40% of our teachers were unlicensed. They were on what I call an everlasting waiver. And so what we've done is we had a steady reduction of that. Currently we have 10 unlicensed teachers, which is now 16%. So from 40 to 16%, it's a great achievement there. All the teachers that are not licensed are on TLP or teacher licensure plans. So one of the things that we've done is we've built teacher housing. We've got 8 units, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes, I guess you want to call them, or duplexes. We're the first in Arkansas to do something like that, but that was to encourage teachers to move into the community and to stay in the community and live amongst our kids and community individuals. And that brought all 8 are filled right now. I'm working currently with a partner in the city that's building additional housing, which he's going to give us first look at so that we can start transitioning some of my teachers into that space so that I can continue to use what we have as a recruiting tool. Mentoring and recruitment pipelines. Dr. Miller is instrumental about helping us bring in teachers, potential teachers from Williams Baptist, UAPB. They come and frequent our district, and we get a chance to talk with them and try to basically court them to try to get them to come to the Lee County School District. We try to do a really good job at selling ourselves, and we did well and gotten one so far. So we'll continue that pipeline so that we can continue to recruit teachers. What's different now? Some of the walks that we go on, you'll see in the chart in front of you, strong evidence, 62.7% that our teachers are using the high qualified instructional material. Our teachers are trained to use it, not just the possession of it. We had a vendor in yesterday training our ELA teachers and going over again, some of that, my perspective, so that they can feel more and more comfortable in using that in the classrooms. Okay, the district is a solid D. So that's the hard truth. So why is this still progress? Well, we've gone from dysfunction to coherence. We've gone from chaos to consistency. We've gone from survival to growth. The system now exists in place so that we can continue to grow as a district. Understanding the 14%, and I'm talking about that middle 23-24 graduation rate. That graduation rate, when I first came to Lee County, was 71%. There were several students that were, well, first of all, let's talk about what that really means. I come from a district that had about 600 kids that were graduating in the graduation class. Well, 14% of that number would have been huge. But this 14% is still huge, but it's a smaller number. So out of that first year, 71%, that was 12 students. Those 12 students, we had about 7 of them to drop out, although we put every effort in place to keep our kids there. Some still choose to do so. We have kids that have left. 5 of them were enrolled in another Arkansas school. They're still counted on our graduation rate, so if they start with that cohort and they leave us, and they're not where they need to be, they're still counted in our cohort. So that happens within those numbers as well. 23, 24, that's that 14%. I'm talking about 8 students out of the 58, then 8 students out of the 60 in the next year. But what are we doing now? Next level support. If you look at our graduation class right now, 61 students we're looking to graduate, and we're desperately working with this individual to ensure that they are graduating. But 5 of those 61 is going to graduate with an associate's degree. 10 of them will finish with a general studies degree, that's 30 hours, college hours, and 18 of them will finish with secondary degree certificate in HVAC, CNA, Welding, Med Pro, Industrial Tech, and Industrial Equipment Technology. That will represent more than half of that 61 that will be ready for the workforce or college. So although that school letter grade is an F, we're doing what we can, where we can, to encourage those kids to be where they need to be when they leave us. So the law tells us we have to have 3 H2 pathways. We do. We have automotive. We've got 15 students in automotive. We've got 40 students in agri, and we've got 20 students in industrial tech. But we've gone above that, and we've got concurrent credit in place, and we also have bobbering. It's not a pathway, but it's an interest. We've got 2 students that will graduate this year that will have their hours in order to go take a test and be a licensed bobber. So next year we're looking at adding computer science, and we've got staff in place for criminal justice. We're going to work with our Marion Police Department in order to, for those students that has the interest in that, we've got interest, so we're going to explore those possibilities as well and add even more to what we're trying to do for our kids. So the industry certifications are available. Students graduating with associates that's all there. Why does this matter? Students see a future, employers see credibility, and the community see hope. One of the things that, one of the goals that I had was to restore the faith back in public schools in the Lee County School District. And the community is now seeing that hope. They're starting to see that what we said we were going to do is happening. And it's with the help of this board, OCSS, and the State Department that's making that a reality. The advisory board has been selected. The OCSS, the team put together a group of individuals. I don't know who was all on that team. I just happen to know, I saw Mr. Henderson there, and so I know he was on the team, but I don't know everybody else. I didn't get to meet everyone, but they selected a fine group of individuals to serve as an advisory board. We have Dr. Yolanda Lemon is our president. She has a child in our district. Dr. Kelly Farris, she has a child in the district. Miss Christy Wilson, she works in another neighboring school district as federal programs coordinator, so she understands the financial parts that we're having to deal with. Mr. Kelly Reddick has a child in our district, and Pastor Carl Bloodsow, I want to say he has several children in the district because he's a pastor and a lot of good children. I didn't know how many came from his congregation, but everywhere he goes, someone knows him. So I'm counting several of those as his children. So we have a fine group of individuals that are excited. We've had 1 3-hour training with them in December. We've got another 3-hour training coming this month on the 23rd. They're excited about, and then we've had our second board meeting already with them, and they've done a good job with that. Local control, pre-K. We skip pre-K. Okay. Well, pre-K, early commitments for us. We've got 90% of our capacity of our pre-K over the last several years. This year is the lowest number we've had. We've got 60 seats. We only have 50 children there. So what we're doing to aggressively recruit or be a little bit innovative in how we're approaching this, we've filled out paperwork, and in a couple of weeks we'll open an infant and toddler class. that with a capacity of 7 students. The earlier we can get our students in, the better. And so we are going to open that class within a couple of weeks or so, and then we'll have 7 more of those 10 seats filled so that we can continue to make academic gains in the future. So early intervention equals stronger outcomes later. 3rd grade, I wanted to hit that real quick. When our 2021 school year, from that spring to this last spring, there's been a 13% increase in reading achievement. So, there was a question asked, how is the reading scores compared to when the state first came to how they are now? Well, we've seen a 13% increase. I think we skipped the same slide, Ms. Smith. Why now? Why now? Well, because systems are functioning. Leadership is stable, government capacity is being built, community trust is rebuilding. It's not because the work is finished and the outcomes are perfect. What's next is, continued state monitoring, clear expectation for the board, ongoing focus on instruction outcome. The district should not go backwards with the intentional systems that we have in place. Returning Lee County to local control is not the end, it's the next responsible move. To summarize, at the elementary level, the work is beginning to show. The elementary school has sustained a C rating for 2 consecutive years, anchored by science of reading, implementation, and instructional coaching. At the secondary level, I'll be honest, the work is harder. It's taken a little longer than expected. Student entering high school already behind. The rigor was not there, but it's increasing. Systems are now in place. Outcomes are still catching up. But the most important shift has already occurred. Lee County now has systems that work, leaders who are accountable, and government bodies that's being trained for sustained progress. Return to local control is not a declaration of victory. It's a judgment of readiness. I believe, based on evidence, not optimism, that the Lee County School District is ready to take the next responsible step. The question is not whether or not Lee County has arrived. It's whether Lee County is ready to continue the journey responsibly. The evidence shows that it is. I appreciate the accountability and the commitment to our students that you've shown. And I look forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, so I'll just start on my right here. The work is clear.
Question about the housing. Does the district own the housing and the teachers rent, or how does that work?
Yes, sir. The district is the owner of the housing. The teachers pay rent to live there.
Are they fully occupied? So
Yes, they are.
Dr. Stone, appreciate your updates. What do you think the contributing factor was to the H2 pathways? And you did mention that computer science is the plan for next year. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
So what contributed to what we currently have is interest of the student. Our students showed interest in that. AgRI in our area is huge. We got a lot of farming, industrial equipment and technology that with the computer, the tractors and all of that. There's farmers there, and some of our kids work with them. So the kids show interest in things, and we try to cater to that. The computer science, we have a teacher in place now, and we've been talking about computer science. We had it in the past, and it went away, and the kids was really wanting it, and now we have a staff member that actually can teach that, so we want to bring that back for those kids that are interested. We've got some 10th graders and some 9th graders that have shown interest, so we're exploring that to see if that's something that we can definitely add for them. So it's all driven by the students.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wood? Mr. Wood, did you have questions? No. Okay. I'll go to my left. Ms. King? No.
Dr. Stone, congratulations on the profile of so many of your graduates. Well done. Pardon my ignorance, but this is the easy question, and I have a little bit more difficult one. Could you explain how those 5 students that transferred out of your district still count against your graduation rate? I should know, but I don't.
Okay. That may be a question from somebody at the department,
Oh.
but my understanding is that if they leave us and they are not on track and they go to another school, then they still count against our graduation rate. That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you for informing us. We're always learning too.
Hope's doing a deeper update, so we can talk about that there.
Oh, okay. My second question is, could you give us a little bit more insight into the secondary lag? Could you give us a little bit more commentary on what your feelings are about why that lag is so persistent?
Well, coming into the district, my focus was starting at the base. I'm a former elementary principal, so one of the things that I looked at first is we've got to have a strong foundation, and this may be my thoughts about this, but as we strengthen the bottom of the core, it'll trickle up. And so some of that focus that I've been dealing with for a couple of years, I said, well, we've got to get this right at the elementary school. And so that's why you probably see a increase there quicker. The first year, honestly, the first year I was there, we had been an F school district for both schools for over a decade. So after the first year, the elementary moved into a D. And then just being very intentional about what we were doing there. And then the second year, they moved to a C. And then the third year, they maintained a C. And so it's getting stronger there. But to my fault, some of my fault, I was not paying too much attention to the high school because I was really focusing on that core. But then by the second year, I said, it's got to matter at this high school too. So we lost an administrator there after the second year, and we had to have a new administrator, new principal there. But one of the things I started digging into the first, when that principal left, I said, well, how, I looked at that first group that was there, there was 6th graders over there to 7th graders. So that senior year last year had been at that school for 7 years. They started as 6th graders because it was a pretty rough group. And so, but then I started looking at the data. They had, in that 7-year span, they had 5 different principals. So the inconsistency of the leader in the building made a difference also. So when I started digging into that data, I said, well, we're going to hold on to our principals and we're going to train our principals and keep our principals. And so I think that lag is because, one, I was focused at that elementary level. 2, I think that turnover of that administrator, constant turnover, has been a problem in our area. Our kids don't take to you very quickly because they constantly have a new person to learn every other year is what it's been.
Well, thank you. That's been very helpful.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll just commend you on the work that you've done. It's great to hear this. I do want to double click back on the H2 pathway thing. For a high school of your size, is expanding well beyond the 2, 3, and adding, I think that's great. Like, obviously, the more options you have for kids that what they're passionate about is good, but is there going to be like a stretch of resources there, like too many, like, we get to the point to where having too many H2 pathways becomes an issue?
That's a great point, and that's something that we thought about, but we partnered with EACC, and we bus our students to some. So So a couple of those pathways, like we've got industrial technology at the high school currently, but we're transitioning that one over to EACC because we don't have the year 1, 2, and 3, so we have to partner with them to do that. So EACC has been a real help to us where we can expand a little bit more on our interest side and still continue with those students that are deeper into those pathways.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to commend you too. Great presentation. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I understand that the transition with 5 principals in 7 years. What are you doing different to retain them now so that we don't see that continue?
So I've got a leader there now. He lives not in the community, but he's a pastor in the area, and he doesn't want to do anything else but be a principal. And so he has a child that's at the high school, or a younger child at the high school, so I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. But what I'm doing is actually, we struggle to compete with salaries and teacher salaries and things like that. So what we do is support. And right now I've got some support in behind him. We've got one of our vendors that work one-on-one with him. And so by building capacity in individuals, that keeps them there. I just quote one of my teachers. They said, I know I can go make more money somewhere else, but the support I get here is invaluable. And so I believe that support is what's going to keep them there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So if I could, and thank you, Dr. Stone, and we really enjoy working with you and hope we keep that close relationship as we support you moving forward. I might put Stacy on the spot just to say, so this is where we are, and this is the next steps, and this is probably when this is coming back to the board for action to formalize this process, if I could.
So, first off, thank you for recognizing the work that this gentleman has done. He's done a lot of work, and he has a big heart for Lee County, and it's home.
If he's an alumni.
It's home.
Of the school district,
Yeah.
so this is special.
That's right. So the department will be coming back to the board in the next couple of months, making the recommendation that Lee County go back to local control. I would encourage this board to consider hosting a board meeting in Lee County, either March or April. I would love for you to actually get to see some of the things he talked about in his presentation in person. You can't walk through that elementary school and not recognize that learning is happening. You can see some of the technical centers, you can see the housing. The housing itself has been a national story. They've had some innovative programs there. And Secretary Oliva has more than once said, if we can have people graduating with associate's degree in Lee County, we can have it anywhere. All right, so a district that has been a struggling district that is actually taking on some of the innovation that's been offered throughout the state to do that, it's a big deal. So I would encourage the board to host a board meeting in Lee County in the next month or two, and then we will come back and make a recommendation. Our team that was on site on Friday went through all of the exit criteria. They collected evidence to show that not only do we have quantitative scores, but we have qualitative data as well to show that they have met the exit criteria that was established. And so we will be sharing that report when we come back and make the recommendation.
Hey, State, can you remind me when their 5 years, when is kind of the
Yeah,
time?
it would be in May. Mhm.
Okay,
So if we did, yeah, but our recommendation would be for them to return.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Great job.
All right. So I think next we have Hope.
Yep.
Yep, Hope
And
Worsham.
she can ask us.
Yes. I know I have the same question
Denominator,
written down. Yes, how does
numerators.
math? But you are going to share with us a little bit about the districts with D and F ratings and their proficiency trends.
Good afternoon, Board. Hope Worsham, Assistant Commissioner of Public School Accountability. So you were provided with a report. I'm going to go ahead and recognize you were not provided with this report until yesterday, so you probably have not had time to read through this entire report. So the bulk of my presentation today is going to focus on how to read this report and how the department is using the data within this report to start structuring support to our DNF rated districts, okay? So what we have done is at the department want to take a focused look on utilizing the data that we have in our Atlas system to prioritize schools for support and then push in and provide that support. So what I've given to you here is a report that shows every DNF rated district, their summative and their interim data from the past 2 years. Now, recognizing a few things about this are important. So first of all, the interim assessments give you a estimate of where learning is in that district at that time. And if you consider those interim assessments are on grade level content, what we expect a student to learn by the end of the year, it would be very normal to see your fall scores lower than your spring scores. That should make complete sense, okay? But what we want to look at in the department is, are we seeing summative scores trending upwards? And are we seeing fall to fall trending upwards, winter to winter trending upwards? That's what we're looking at to see, do we feel like the district is making progress in this area as a starting place? And then for my team, I always encourage them, we use the data as a starting place to dig deeper. So just like today, we did focus walks in buildings. There are people on my team right now that are doing focus walks in every DNF district at the moment. So they have the data as a starting place, and then they are doing walks in those buildings to try to identify what are some core issues that we may need to provide support in, or what are some key changes that may need to happen immediately and then long term. The summative assessments are required, so when you read this data, I want you to be very careful about, did they actually test all of their population or just a small percentage, because the interim assessments are optional at this time. The windows, it's important to know that as well. The fall window was from August until November, so that has now closed, and anyone that's going to give those is done. However, the winter interim window for this year is open through March the 20th. So many of the districts in this report do not have winter 26 data, and that's because they're probably getting those assessments now or will be over the next few weeks. So we're going to focus on spring to spring and fall to fall because we don't have a full snapshot of winter data at this moment. Okay? The other thing to be careful of and cautious of is just the student in counts. If they only tested 100 kids last year and they tested 500 kids this year, those percentages, you want to be very careful about interpreting those. So I'm going to give you a few examples of the report and how to, this thing is. Okay. So at the very top of the report, you're going to see some bullets. The first bullet is always going to give you some information about is there a discrepancy in the student counts that you should be aware of? So they didn't give any interim assessments, they didn't do something, or the counts are very different. The second bullet is always going to tell you something about spring to spring performance. The third one, fall to fall, and then the fourth one, winter to winter. So try to break that down for you on the top. And then in the charts themselves, some things to note and pay attention to. The first thing is at the top left of the screen, right under the district name. You'll see the letter grade that they are, the points that they are currently earning, and then the points that they need to earn to get to the next letter grade, which is important because some districts have much further to go than others. Okay. Then the top information there is bulleted out in summary for you. And then when you go to read the chart, it's important to know, are you looking at an interim score or a summative score? So the interim scores are represented by a circle. The summative scores are going to be represented by a triangle. And you want to compare summative to summative first, and then look interim to interim. And then it would be appropriate to compare across a single year. So from fall of 24 to spring of 25, do we see those lines trending upwards? That's what we're really looking for. So the first thing, like I said, spring to spring, it would be appropriate to look spring to spring scores. This is end of year, so we've had all year to teach. We would want and hope to see that spring 25 scores are higher across the board than spring 24 scores. That would indicate that the district students are learning at a higher level, they are progressing at a higher level. The first thing I had my team look at is not only, this is level 3 and 4, so overall percent proficient, but we also go then look at level 1 and level 2. So you heard Dr. Barbary speak to their goals were set about their number of students in level 1 moving into level 2. That's very appropriate for a district where you may not see the movement on the upper end immediately, but you can see movement from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So looking at those trends is also important, and that's one thing we're doing on our side. Remember, spring 24 is a baseline year, so that's the first time we had Atlas assessment. So really the 2 points you have to look at right now are spring to spring and then fall to fall again, as kind of your baseline points of where these districts started in the overall performance. If you look spring to spring and you see declines, just be cautious about those declines. Some may be significant, but if you're looking at a decline of 1 to 2%, a lot of times that may just be within statistically what we would expect, but we would consider those similar scores. When you're looking fall to fall, and I do apologize, that was supposed to come in separate. When you're looking fall to fall, it is appropriate to see, again, those fall scores be much lower than your spring scores. That indicates that students are here in the fall, and we want to see an increase to the spring. We want to see the percent of students that are earning 3 and 4 increase significantly from fall to spring. That indicates the students are learning something, okay? If you see the fall numbers very similar to the spring numbers or lower than the spring numbers, then that indicates that students are not making progress across the year. We're not having more students learn more information and move into those higher categories. So that would be the trend we would be looking for to see if we're making improvement. So we're going to start with Pine Bluff since we're in their district today. I pulled out 2 districts to look at an example of. So if you want to turn to that page in the report, it's in alphabetical order, so towards the end. So Pine Bluff would be a district that from our side as a team, we're not concerned about the way their data is trending. The team is still going to come into Pine Bluff and do a walkthrough. We have done that, and then work with the district to set goals, because these are all DNF districts. We're fully aware of that, but there are some of the districts that are trending in the right direction, indicating that the work is happening and that work we want to see sustained, and we want to continue to support that. And there's others where the data is trending in a less positive direction, and we might have some more concerns there. So for Pine Bluff, when we look at their data from spring to spring, they did show progress or not declining in all of their areas, relatively similar in science. But then when we looked fall to fall, we saw quite an increase in their fall to fall scores, indicating students are starting the year at a higher place this year than they were last year. Remember, it's a new group of kids, but they're already trending at a higher percentage at the same point in the year. So then what we would want to look at next is when they give their winter interim, which they're doing now, how is their winter to winter comparing, and how is their fall to winter comparing? So at the point that we have a set of winter data, we can look across from fall, winter, and then into spring. So Texarkana is another example. The reason I pulled out Texarkana, what might be interesting to look at there is the degree of change in their data. And also Texarkana is an example where their spring summative proficiency was higher in math, but relatively similar in ELA and science. So they had one area where we're seeing progress, but 2 that we're not seeing quite as much progress. However, in their fall to fall comparison, across the board, they had increased performance in all areas. So Texarkana would be one that we would maybe push in a little bit more in on ELA and science to see what's going on there, to make sure that we're progressing in the right direction with ELA and science, and still have conversations about math, because that seems to be progressing in the right direction. Okay. So from DESE's standpoint, I've mentioned several times I have a team of about 6 people back at the department who are working directly with every DNF rated district through the co-ops. We're partnering with the educational cooperatives. We're doing focus walks in every one of the buildings. And then we are working alongside the cooperative to set goals, alongside the co-op that work within their strategic plan. Our goal is to support, and then where we see things that are not going well, to provide some more directive feedback of, we really need to see certain things change to start to make progress. Again, remember that the letter grade is all about academics. It's really focusing on core instruction and support in Tier 2 and Tier 3, so that's where most of our support is focused. It's into how are students learning, do we have the right human capital in the right places, and or do we have the right materials in teachers' hands and support for them. So that's really where our support is focusing into. So that is how we're using the data right now, and Again, once winter scores come out, we plan to continue to look at that data and then continue to work alongside schools.
Thank you. So, question?
So, one, thank you, Hope, for walking us through this. And if you remember, I want to say it was right before Christmas break, we had started meeting with DNF schools. The freeze shutdowns got my weeks off a little bit, but I want to say we did that right before the break to talk about how we're going to bring in the failing districts. How are they working with their co-ops, with their school board, superintendent, to make sure that we look like a district improvement plan, and y'all kind of voted to accept their plan, and now we're able to monitor them with the implementation of those plans. That conversation led to, okay, what about the next group? Like, what are those D districts? Which there's a ton of them, right? Like, I want to say at least 20 of them. It took us, almost 2 days to go through six F districts, so we want to be more methodical on where are the next levels, and we want to use data to do that. And one of the things that we know is we are going to eliminate failure. Failure is not an option in this state. We are not going to have F schools. We are not going to have F districts, and our hope is to eliminate that and eradicate that by this spring. The reality is we know there's bad actors that are running these districts that are not doing their job. We do have some school districts that are in good faith doing their job to focus on what's right for students. So for us as a board, we need to lean in these communities that are more worried about what adults are doing than what students are learning. And that's why we put together this report that we want to send with you and share, so that when we come back next month, we can talk about what are those trend lines. One of the things that we do know is that transition to a new accountability system, new assessment system is a little chunky, right? Like it takes time because we had to get data, then we had to standard set, and then we had to set new cut scores, and the release of that time was a little bit delayed. Our windows now is, we're still in a progress monitoring window that on next year's testing assessment would be closed, right? And like Mr. Woods brought up, like, why are we testing in April? This is our last year of doing that. Next year it's going to be in May. It's going to be at the end of the year. Our progress monitoring at the beginning of the year is going to be earlier in the year. Our mid-year progress monitoring is going to be at the midpoint of the year and shorter to align up for the summit. So it's a little bit nuanced, because it would be really nice to Hope's point about how are we doing from fall to fall, right? How are we doing from winter to winter? How are we doing from spring to spring with the same cohorts of students? Since we're still in a testing cycle, a lot of districts haven't finished yet, so it's really hard to give you that data of, on current progress this school year now. But one of the things that I think we need to think about as a board is there's DNF districts that aren't even doing the progress monitoring. They're not mandated to. Now, why they wouldn't choose to use an assessment system that's aligned to our standards, that's going to be used for an accountability system to say, hey, teachers, are your students learning what we're expecting them to learn? They make a decision not to participate, is up to them. But I think that's something that we may want to consider in the future when we're dealing with D and F districts. If these A districts, these B districts, if it's working, it's working. We don't need to get deep into those weeds. But if we are failing students, generations of students, then we ought to be able to set some minimum expectations and ask some tough questions. So we wanted to have that conversation now, because there are districts that are not progressing. And you heard us talk a little bit about the way we're having cooperatives push in and walk through the schools with school leaders and administrators and school board members, that the role of a co-op is not to be a customer service company, but to be direct support and to be a liaison between our agency, their support with their districts, our schools getting the resources that they need. This isn't to be punitive. This is to make sure students have the opportunity to learn. And I want to commend and applaud those districts that are doing it. I've heard from so many superintendents the power that they have engaged with Hope's team and Tiffany's team and the cooperatives and everybody walking through the classrooms together, and then they sit down and then they write a plan and they're implementing that plan and they're seeing evidence and progress. Commend those districts. To the cowards that say we're not going to work with a co-op, we don't need their help, and we're going to continue to let them fail, shame on them. And those are the ones I want to make sure we prioritize and get in their space and say this is unacceptable. So this isn't, I say that to say we still have work to do in this state because we are going to eliminate failure. This is kind of the next step. And we visited 2F districts today. I think there was value in that, and we welcome feedback on that. We want to get to the remainder of districts. I think we had some schedule, but then everything got a little bit delayed. We're going to get those done. This work is not going to slow down. These kids should only be in third grade once. This is the senior year for a lot of kids. Are they ready to be enlisted, enrolled, or employed? I tell everybody, I think it was Muhammad Ali, this isn't the time of year to count down the days. We got to make every day count, and we're not going to slow down. And we want to make sure that we were grabbing the most current data so that we can be informed about our conversations and then see what else we can do for you.
Thank you. So, are there any questions of Hope? Am I right?
She asked about the denominator.
Yeah, the denominator. Yeah.
Yeah, so with the grad rate, it depends on where the student got behind is where the accountability lies. So if you enroll a student in 9th grade with you and they get behind with you at 10th grade but they leave, that's actually a federal guideline that we have to keep that accountability at the building where they got behind should the child not graduate. If the child graduates, if they move to your district and you get them caught up and get them graduated, then they count for your building. But if they came to you behind and you were unable to get them graduated, that accountability goes back to the previous building. So it's really just an enrollment.
I have a question. First, I love this data, and I think what you presented to us is the appropriate level at the board level. But could you just speak real briefly on, like, when you see a score, whether it's math or science or language, what your department does to drill down in there? So, because you don't need to, the deeper you get into it, you can focus on the actual thing that's dragging the score down. And I don't need that data. I don't think the board needs that data. But I'd like an understanding of how you go about that process.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that question. So that is kind of what my team loves to do because data only tells us the first place to start, right? So it really sparks for my team a lot of conversations and just questions. And we tend to take the approach, we would take a district and we would not only look at their levels 3 and 4, but I would start asking questions about level 1 and 2. So are level 1 and 2 moving? And then once we look at that, we have the ability to look at the teacher level, at the building level. So then we would start, what's the building level progress? Is it a particular building? Is it a particular teacher within that building? And those really are conversations to have with the building and district leadership because many times they've looked at their data. They know what the problem is and we're just kind of an outside eye. So really the power is we can look at that data and start going down building level, teacher level, grade level. And then when we have conversations with the districts, a lot of times it's affirming to them to know, yeah, they're on the right track. Like they pinpointed the same issue we think we're seeing. And then when we go do walks, oftentimes what we're seeing in the classroom is then affirming, oh, that's why in that particular classroom things are lower, or that's why this particular building is not performing at the same level. So it really just sparks good conversations, but we kind of go level by level and look at it through a lens of what might be the root cause of the problem. Do we see something common, or is it just one particular place that can be targeted?
If I was to add to that, Mr. Peacock, as you engage in this cycle of continuous improvement, we know the number one impact is the teacher standing in front of that room, right? That's the greatest predictor of student learning and outcomes. Number 2 is the principal leading that building, and that's the first conversation we need to have. Do you have qualified teachers? Are they trained? Are they supported? Are your principals, do they understand how to do a walkthrough, and lead that conversation and be not just a manager of day-to-day operations, but a leader of instruction, right? Like, what is the role of the principal? But scheduling matters too, and that's why we have to look at the fact is every kid deserves access to grade level instruction every single day. And what we find in schools that continuously struggle is this belief or culture or mindset that kids aren't ready for grade level instruction. And we saw that today. Let's just be honest. We saw that today. So how do we make sure that every kid has access to grade level instruction and the right support that they need? If a kid needs intervention, how do they get it? And if a kid needs acceleration, do they have opportunity? I think what we're seeing, even in these schools and it's statewide, is that we've really flipped the mindset that we're only going to just focus on the bottom, because while we're doing that, we're holding everybody back. We've got to focus on all of our kids, push the top kids just as much as support the bottom kids, and move along the kids that are progressing through the process appropriately. And when you see the enrollment numbers that Ross presented, making current credit, and the fact that I want to say it's up almost 30% over the previous year, because of access and because we're making sure that every child that wants to do concurrent credit can, that everybody is in a CTE pathway of quality can, that students are able to earn a diploma of merit distinction. Are they? We also pull that data because what we don't want to see is like kids just moving from program to program. So when we looked at the AP enrollment, concurrent credit enrollment, CTE enrollment, IB enrollment, every single one of those categories is up. We are accelerating more kids this current school year than ever, as long as our data goes back. That number is going to go up even more next year, and it's going to go up even more the year after that, because we have to start believing in these kids. We walked through how many classrooms today? Those kids are hungry to be taught. We need to make sure that they're getting access to quality instruction. And if I hear adults blame parents or students for performance, I'm going to have a fit, because that is not the problem.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, I have one question. I'm sorry, I have a question. After that, I'm sorry, but, right, so thank you. So, and it has to do with the calendar, the school calendar. I think it might be helpful, at least for me, to know what school calendar these districts are following. To Secretary Oliva's earlier comments around instruction time and whatnot, I think that, you know, if we have some of these 4-day-a-week districts, I think that would be helpful to know. And then I also, you made a comment whenever you were looking at the Pine Bluff numbers that they seem to, you know, really be even ticking up in the fall. And, you know, immediately it was like, is that because they're following a year-round calendar where there is a smaller gap of time between the summative test and then the fall test? I don't, and if there's more instruction time in there, I don't know the answer to that, but it's just made me curious. Okay, I think that's anything. Okay, oh, great. Yes, understood. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I think that leads us now to board reports. Do we have anything from anybody?
Thank you. So, as y'all know, early childhood is my passion, and we had a moment this fall. We're in a bit of a crisis and a major transition, and I have waited to give a report until I could come with wonderful news. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm very, very excited. I think you all had a chance to meet Ashlyn Abney maybe the last board meeting during lunch. She has done an absolutely phenomenal job. She went into a very, very tough position. She very first had to assess the situation, understand what happened with our funding. You know, where is the funding going? What are the sort of unwritten practices and policies that everyone had been following for a very long time? She then had to realign our vision in the office to the LEARNS Act and sort of clarify to everyone what a unified early childhood system is, what that coordinated funding effort should look like. And then she could start to sort of build momentum and engagement. We have been participating in quality discussions and looking at switching our mindset from that, as we just talked about, that adult-centered mindset, to what's best for these children. And it's shocking that it had to be done, but it did, and it has been an incredibly positive experience. And she's getting into the weeds in a way that I very much appreciate. Two just really tiny examples of things that have been corrected. One was that a component unit is a support organization, legally separate from the government unit, but they often will fund the government unit in ways that state money doesn't allow or that there just isn't finance for. One example is the Razorback Foundation, how they support Arkansas athletics, or the Arkansas Game and Fish Foundation that supports the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Well, there was a component unit within early childhood that instead of supporting the early childhood unit, we were giving them money. That's backwards. That doesn't make sense. And that was to support adults. So that's no longer happening. It wasn't a major amount of money, but it was enough that it's all those little steps that can fix a much larger picture. That was kind of the biggest one I wanted to look at. And I did want to share some other things that were happening. We recently put out a professional services call for proposals. That has been done. All of the folks that were awarded and those that applied were all notified on the results. Now, these are 5-year grants, but they will not be blindly renewed because that's who's always had them. These are competitive grants. We will look at the data. We're going to look at the results. We're going to look at child learning throughout the year. They're going to do a check-in. And on an annual basis, if you're not meeting the goals that have been set out, if you're not doing what we're paying you for, then it's going to go back out for recompetition. Again, it's wild that that's a novel idea, but that's what we're doing. And it's another competitive grant that's going back at us for local leads. And these are those local organizations that are deeply embedded in the community that can help us fund what is necessary, because what funding should look like in Little Rock is going to be very different than in Pine Bluff and very different than Northwest Arkansas, and even more different than, say, Umpire. Being connected to the ground in a way that someone sitting in Little Rock just can't do. So local leads are a very important thing. And again, funding them in a way that they can actually have an impact and holding them accountable for that funding. I'm excited about that coming up. We're also, as I mentioned, we're talking about quality systems. That was something that was required of the LEARNS Act, and we are on track to begin that July 1st, 2026. We're very excited about that. And we are also working for a true market rate survey. That's going to also go back out to competitive grant. We're not just going to give it to the person that's always done it. We're going to hold them accountable and offer it to maybe invite some innovation and some competition. So I'm very, very excited about those things. And I think the truest indicator that I'm thrilled with Ashlyn and what she's doing and that she's making big strides is that I'm no longer calling Stacy Smith every day to say, this is weird, something's not right, I need you to look into this. And so the fact that I've been able to step back and enjoy kind of the fruits of their labor, that's much to her excitement, I'm sure, as well. So thank you for letting me share and brag on them. I look forward to more happy news in the future.
All right, well, thank you so much. And we really appreciate all that you do for early childhood. I mean, it's a labor of love. Yes, yes, thank you so much. Anything from Mariah? So I'll just brief.
I do have something. Yeah, Chair Woods and I got to go to Gravette Schools. I think it was like 2 weeks ago now, and I just wanted to share some of the things we saw there. And I think one of the biggest things that I want to highlight is going back to the H2 pathways, and they have I think they call it the Western Benton County Career Center there, where they share resources, which I'm assuming is kind of what we heard earlier with Lee County. But they share resources with other schools in Benton County, where they, I think, bus some students in from Gentry and some Bentonville schools. But they have a really neat automotive program, a welding program. And I just wanted to talk about, and I'm sure it's the same in some of these other schools, if we could get into that and see the kids' faces in some of these programs. The superintendent there, Gravette, just talked about how excited these kids are to be coming to school, where like before They were just coming to school because they had to, but now they get to come, they get to put their hands on vehicles and do things that they really like doing, or welding, or they're working in construction, and it was just really cool to see that on their. I mean, you like walk into the automotive shop and see just how excited they are, how much fun they're having to be in school, and it's just really good to see. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight, we went to Gravette, it was a really good visit. I think we're going to Gentry next week, and we're just trying to be in some schools in Northwest Arkansas, in the district we represent.
That's great. That's great. Well, and I'll just mention that, I guess back in January, Dr. Keith McGee at Watson Chapel invited me to come spend a little bit of time with him, which I did, about an hour. We started at the central office and then visited an elementary school and the high school. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. I haven't been in a high school in a very long time. And we were there whenever they changed classes, and I just didn't, but it was great. It was wonderful, orderly. The kids were so polite and engaged and just pleased, to have a visitor. And I think Dr. McGee is doing a great job. He has a level of engagement with the students that is very unique and I think beneficial to the student body. He has a good student advisory board that gives him really good, clear feedback, and I think he uses it a lot in making some of the decisions along the way. So it was a great visit. All right, so I think Ms. Wilcoxon, it is your turn for a report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me figure out where I gotta click. There we go. So, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but I'm a current fourth grade elementary math teacher in Pulaski County Special School District, and so a lot of my work I try to center around this year is to get into the elementary classrooms and work with the teachers. And I've also had a lot of opportunity to work with the students as well. And so I've spent a lot of, as you can see on the pictures, just a lot of time in the classroom. This work has ranged from co-teaching. I've asked to model actual, effective Tier 1 instruction for teachers who are struggling with some of the standards and maybe not sure what those mean and just want to see some effective instruction for that. I've worked with teachers on intervention groups and helping them pull resources to use. So it's just been a wide range of things. Honestly, it's just whatever the teachers ask me, and then if I don't have the answers, I try to go looking for the answers for them. During the snow week, when we were snowed in, I wasn't able to get into any of the schools, so I took some time and I've reached out to about 10 new administrators in 10 new districts, asking if they have any teachers who would invite me into their classrooms. So mainly elementary, because I don't think I could go into a high school classroom and teach high school, but so if any of you are here and you have elementary teachers that would like for me to come and visit, I would be happy to visit your school. So, so moving on. So I got the chance to travel to Miami, Florida, to go to the National College Championship game. This was through the National Teacher of the Year program. This was my final trip of the year. For those of you who aren't familiar, through the National Teacher of the Year program, I'm a part of a cohort of teachers, and so it's every teacher from the entire United States who won for their states. So I'm a part of that group now, and I'm extremely blessed to be a part of some of the best teachers across our nation. So many resources that I can turn to for basically any subject, any level, and I'm just really, really fortunate and grateful to be a part of this. I completed my first 5K. I wasn't for sure. I was really, really nervous because I've never done one before, and I'm happy to say I did it in less than an hour. So I was very proud of myself. And of course we went to the game. I've never been to a championship game before, and so I really didn't know what to expect, but it was intense. We were recognized actually down on the field, and fireworks started going off while we were down there. I mean, it was insane, but such an honor to be able to go, and my husband actually got to go on this trip with me. This is the only trip he's attended, and we were walking around town, and all of a sudden all these sirens just start going off, and police on motorcycles, I mean, they just come roaring in, and I was scared to death. I had no idea what was going on, and then we look up, and then here comes the Indiana buses. So the players were entering and coming through, so that was like a really, really, cool experience just to see in the moment. So moving on, I was happy that I got a chance to go to Hot Springs and attend the Beta Club College and Career Fair. I attended it with Amy Tucker and Capri Salam, who is my Teacher of the Year coordinator. And we were able to visit with high school students and just talk to them about education and answer all the questions that they had. The Arkansas State Police was set up right beside us, so they stole a lot of the show. I don't know what it is about those officers that were there in uniform, but the kids were just like flocking over there to them, so we were trying to pull them over there to talk to them about education. But mainly letting them know about the scholarship opportunities that kids have that have come through with the LEARNS Act, and so we were just making sure to give them all that information and hopefully inspire them to consider education. And then I attended the CTE Day at the Capitol, and I just have to say, I've thought about this day ever since. Being an elementary teacher for 26 years, I never knew much about career and technical education. And so when I attended this event, I was just blown away. As I walked around and got to talk with the students and just hear their stories, all their success, I'm just extremely grateful for all the partnerships, for all the businesses who are pouring all their support into these students. I mean, it's absolutely amazing just to see how incredibly successful they are in the places that they're heading. So this was just a really, like I said, I've thought about these kids ever since that day. And I've been invited since then. I met some people while I was there, and I've been invited to go and tour a couple of the CTE programs in the area around Little Rock, and so I'm excited for that. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And I have to say, I'm not surprised that your husband went with you to that.
Every year we have to hear about it.
I know.
Please stop hearing about that true.
It's true. It's true. Okay, well, so this brings us to public comment, and we have 16 people signed up for public comment, which is quite a few. So we're going to take about a 10-minute break and reconvene and hear public